So hi everyone! Today we're going to talk about the FDA banned Juul from selling e-cigarettes in the US. Federal health officials order vaping pioneers to pull its products. Juul say it will fight orders. So buy Juuls, buy USB smoking devices, buy...
Fans of Juul's sleek vaporizers might soon have to find another way to get their nicotine fix. Altria. The Food and Drug Administration on Thursday ordered Juul Lab to halt U.S. sales of all of its e-cigarette products. The agent said that it wasn't aware of a hazard associated with using Juul's device, but that the company hadn't submitted sufficient evidence that its devices were safe. The agent said retailers should remove Juul's product from stores and consumers should seek out alternatives.
So they are saying that Juul's isn't safe product, or that they don't have enough evidence saying Juul's is a safe product, so that's why people are going like, hey, FDA is like, FDA is like, no.
Juul said that it disagreed with the FDA's finding and that it had provided ample data to the
regulators.
The company said it intends to seek a stay of the order, either through the agency appeals process or in court. We remain committed to doing all in our power to continue serving the millions of American adult smokers who have successfully used our products to transition away from combustible cigarettes. Some researchers caution that the FDA decision, which bans a brand that accounts for about a third of e-cigarette sales in U.S. retail stores, could hurt effort to get more adults to quit smoking or switch away from traditional cigarettes. Some elected officials had called on the FDA to ban Juul, citing its popularity with young people.
What's shocking me is that there's actual research saying people using Juuls help quit smoking or switch away from traditional cigarette, which means that the researchers are implying that traditional cigarettes is worse than Juul. But I do kind of agree that Juul is popular among young kids. People, especially how they are shaped. Like, you know how they charge it as if they're looking like a USB devices? So they're kind of like, hey, like I can smoke this too.
About 12.5 adults in the US were cigarette smokers in 2020, the latest government data available. There were 13 million adult vapor in the US as of March, according to Altria. Underage vaping in the US has fallen significantly in the past few years since federal restrictions raised the legal purchase age for tobacco products to 21, and the bar sale of Juul's popularity among young people has also dropped. The study released in September showed that 6% of high school vapers said they used Juul, compared with 26% who said they used Puff Bar. The marking denial order follows a near 2-year review of data presented by the vaping company. Juul sought authorization for its tobacco and menthol flavored product to stay on the U.S. market, which most recently Juul has been the number 2 sale. Really? Some of the research Juul submitted to the agency raised concern because of insufficient and conflicting data, including information on potentially harming chemical leaching from the company's refill pods into the nicotine liquid they contain. Juul also failed to provide significant information on the potential risk that chemical in its aerosol or nicotine liquids could damage users' DNA or chromosome. Really? Agency's scientific reviews asked Juul to provide more information, and companies responded and fully addressed their concern, and that the company believes it has provided significant information and data to address all of the questions raised by the agency.
So I'm not sure. Well, this is really hard. So I can see Fed's standpoint right here saying, hey, you didn't really clarify if the chemical that you guys are putting inside the Juul is dangerous for smokers or vice versa. But Juul's is kind of saying, hey, we provided you with enough data that actually smoking ours is decreasing the number of smokers out there, or that it's actually better than the regular cigarette. So I don't see why you're doing this, and maybe by banning us, you're gonna go, like you're not making any sense. So I think, honestly, Juul isn't really answering FDA's question. Hey, what about the chemicals? Why are you not addressing chemicals? And Juul is saying other things like, hey, you provided the data. As in, maybe they included something related to about death or anything. But, I guess they're kind of going around what they want to say about the chemicals and how if it's really affecting the chromosome or any like the DNA stuff. FDA is like, what's X, what about XYZ? And they're like, it's XY. There's no Z.
So continuing, Juul application includes comparison with combustible cigarettes and with other vaping products, and this data, along with the rest of the Juul submission, meets the statutory standard of being appropriate for the protection of the public health.
Jules is like, hey, at least we require a certain amount, you know, like I don't know about the chemicals and the DNA, but we're like barely at the line of meeting the criteria, so just let us sell our products. I guess that I would kind of understand, because if they're the second, it's like, imagine how much customers they're going to lose.
The FDA on Thursday told Juul that all of its products in the market must be removed, or the agency could take enforcement action against Juul and retailers. And law enforcement won't take action against consumers using Juul products.
Oh, really? So everyone who is using Juuls should stack up all the chemicals then.
The agency has cleared the way for Juul's biggest rival, Reynolds American, and Enjoy Holding. I've never heard of those. To keep tobacco-flavored e-cigarette on the market. The burden to provide the tobacco product meet the standard set by U.S. law that their benefit to adult cigarette smokers outweigh any risk or intended consequences falls on the shoulder of the company. They had opportunities to provide evidence demonstrating the market of their product met their AV standard. However, the company did not provide the evidence. A director of Tobacco Research Network at the University of Michigan's School of Public Health said the scientific consensus on Juul is that it is effective and less harmful alternative to cigarettes.
So even the Tobacco Research Network, the director is saying Juul isn't that harmful.
The sad irony is that this product would be banned from the market while billions of combustible cigarettes, which kill half of all long-term users, enjoy grandfather status and continue to be aggressively marketed to and used by tens of millions of Americans.
So I also see this point being like, hey, if you're banning us, why are you not banning this cigarette company? Which they should too, I agree. I mean, of course, maybe our product might be killing or causing any DNA issues out there, but hey, so is cigarette. Cigarette is killing lungs. Lungs is also bad too. Why? Wow, I would be so angry in terms of Juuls if this is actually what's going on. It's like, I don't understand.
FDA said it understood the order against Juul might cause concern or uncertainty for Juul users and encouraged them to switch to a vaping product that the agency has authorized. The last thing users should do is start using combusted products. This was a scientific review conducted by subject matter experts. That's the way the system is supposed to work. Uncertainty has clouded Juul since the FDA launched an investigation into the startup 4 years ago. Regulators, lawmakers, and school administrators blamed Juul's fruity flavor, USB device-shaped vaporizers, and hip marketing for fuel a surge of underage vape. It limited its market and in 2019 stopped selling sweet and fruity flavor.
So FDA, for my understanding here, FDA is saying, hey, Jules, because you sold a flavory, like sweet flavory flavor, and the fact that you made it into like a USB shaped is making kids want to smoke this, and that's not what we want to see from you guys, and that this should be like banned. This is causing why young kids want to smoke, and there are some things inside the product that's questionable. So you, instead of smoking Juuls, we're not saying vaporization is bad. Vaping is bad. I mean, it is bad, but like, it's just Juul is bad, and there are other vaporizing products out there, not just Juuls, that we approve of, so you guys should be smoking that. Why didn't they put like a stop to it though, and being like, hey, you should really look into your product though?
And then finally, FDA order against Juul is a setback for Altria, which makes Marlboro cigarette, and in 2018 paid $12.8 billion for a 35% stake in Juul. Since then, Juul value has plummeted amid regulatory crackdowns and declining sales. Now it's at $1.6 billion. Shares of Altria, which assists Juul with its FDA application, fell 9.2% in Wednesday trading after the journal reported on the expected FDA decision. Altria share rose 2.4% on Thursday trading, while shares of Reynolds parent British American Tobacco were down less than 1%. We're disappointed with the decision and continue to believe that e-vapor can play an important role in harm reduction for adult smokers. Juul surged to the top of the U.S. e-cigarette market in 2018, but then lost some ground to other brand value more recently, being second place behind Reynolds' use brand. And finally, the FDA is separately moving forward on a plan to mandate the elimination of nearly all nicotine in cigarettes, a policy that would upend the $95 billion U.S. cigarette industry, and health officials say prompt millions of people to quit smoking or switch to alternatives such as e-cigarettes. That rule will take years to implement, and tobacco companies could sue to fight it.
FDA, damn, guys, FDA, holy cow. They are basically saying, hey, no more Juuls. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing here is FDA is like, hey, give me reasons of A, like the chemical issues and, like other, the B of like the DNA issues out there, and then there's like other issues, blah, 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 and then like the vapor, is it safe for kids, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then Jules is kind of pointing out, hey, because of our product, people are less smoking. So what did they say? It dropped down to like, like couple percentage and doing less of regular traditional smoking, like traditional smoking is not popular anymore. We stopped down on your vapor, like yummy tasting flavor, so it should be fine. And then, like, kids are not smoking anymore. They say it dropped down to what, 13%, or yeah, which used to be what, 26%. So that's like almost half of what we used to have. And we provided you with data. Why are you making us not do it? I don't understand. Do you think this was a fair decision for FDA to just ban Juuls and that like all the other vaping tools are out there? Or is this also maybe related to either politics or anything that Juuls did to tick FDA or government off? And also, why are they not having all these like strong restricted rules for cigarettes? Because I know they did mention about like the chemicals and DNA is changing and that their body's having issues, blah, blah, blah. But also cigarette is causing lung or smoking a long time. And that, like there's also secondhand smoking. So why are they not doing anything for cigarette, but only focusing more on e-cigarette? They did mention like back in 2018 that they started investigating in Juuls for potential issues, but I guess it did come like right now to 2022. But so rumors saying FDA is paid by big tobacco directly and indirectly. So maybe there are money involved for FDA to not be able to attack the cigarette industry. They were the most visible offenders 4 years ago when this investigation started. So it makes sense. Just because other competitors are now big makes no difference. Also, pointing fingers to other companies is irrelevant to the investigation. So I guess they are focusing more on Juuls because they are noticeable. So then do you think banning Juuls was a good decision because they were unclear, they were not giving enough details to FDA? While reading this, I didn't really understand what FDA wanted. So the one thing that stood out to me in depth was the DNA issue, if the chemical is actually safe for human body. And it seems that Juul didn't provide information related to that. Maybe because of news and that whatever information was being sent to WSJ wasn't specific, but this isn't, at least for me too, like if my kid is smoking Juul, like maybe they're like 21 and they were like, Mom, I smoke Juuls, but they probably won't say that to you in front of your face. But it's like, and then I'm reading this news saying, hey, Juuls has all these issues, I want them to stop smoking. Like, oh my god. Yeah, so I really would have appreciated if they went in more details, but just by reading this, it would have been nice to see the answer to the chemical and the DNA issue that the FDA has said. So if you don't, answer that question, then I'm not sure. Like, even for me, I wouldn't be able to trust Juuls, and that I would rather trust other e-cigarette businesses out there. I'm guessing there are a bunch. But at the same time, it also kind of sucks for Juuls that they're kind of getting the fingers pointed at, although there are other companies out there that might have the same chemical issues and stuff. So it took decades of regulation for tobacco, like no commercials about cigarette. Government is like, F Juuls ban. It kind of makes sense. Imagine if it took decades to regulate for tobacco, it's gonna take another decade for e-cigarette. And maybe it's better for them to then stop and that it's causing too much. So So in conclusion, guys, really sucks that Juul is banned, at least in the company perspective, and that they probably will do everything to fight against, saying, hey, we are a legit product. But I do want to say to Juul that you have to really answer the question that FDA is required, or that they want to respond. And if you're just gonna go like around it, there's a reason why they want to ban you, because you're not really answering their question. And you know, who has more power, FDA or Juul? Obviously FDA, because it is health related, everything. So you need a better reason why you can't, that your product can be sold. So that's all for Juul, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed watching this. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Or other than that, that is all for Juul. Good luck, Juul. Hope you it'll be interesting to see some people smoke Juul right now. So thanks.